Hello and welcome to Starting from Scratch episode 5. Today I'm going to be working on flattening my knuckles and starting the finger bowing, because as one can clearly see on the videos I've made so far, because I can't do the finger bowing and because I'm not flexible here, what I do is I use my wrist instead, and my fingers are not moving at all. So in order to be able to play closer to the frog and one day perhaps be able to do smoother bow changes, it's the finger bowing which I need to practice. Now, what helped me a lot in the last couple of days was, first of all, to separate left hand and right hand. So now I'm practicing left hand technique, that's bow technique now for me. And I'm doing that only on open strings so that I can concentrate on what I'm doing. So what I'm doing now is I'm going to put the bow onto the A string, round about where the middle is. And the first thing I'm going to do is I'm just going to relax my bow hand and let the string carry the bow weight so that I'm flexible here to a certain extent, because this is what I want to practice. I want to practice being able to move the joints of my finger. And right now I can only do that without moving the bow by giving the bow's weight to the string. So I've been doing a lot of that. And now let's see if I can do something like the finger bowing. So I'm going to just curl my fingers and bend my thumb. And I get a very, very small, very jerky, very wobbly up bow. Straighten them again. Okay, that was a down bow. It's normal to be that jerky at first. I'm glad I can do this at all. Okay, I'm losing my bow hold, so I've got to organize that again. Yes, so often I tell my pupils, be patient, reorganize your bow hold, don't worry about your fourth finger slipping off, be satisfied with very, very small movements when you're practicing finger bowing. See, slipped off again. But I'm finding it unbelievably difficult to be that patient with myself. I did not expect it to be that difficult to be patient, because I thought that many decades of playing the violin that I've learned patience, but it seems that I haven't. So this is what I find very difficult, just putting the bow on the string again, relax the hand, move it a little bit without expecting the bow to move. Just notice that the fingers have joints and that they move. And now finger bowing. Okay, I'll do the same on the E string. Find the position of the E string, upper arm just hangs. Okay, and now I'm just going to give the bow's weight to the string and just move a little bit. Doesn't matter how, it's just a matter of flattening the knuckles. I have to get my bow hold again. So practicing is very hard at this stage. Okay. Now finger bowing. Okay, good enough for now. A string again. Give the bow's weight to the string. Move the joints a little bit, and then finger bowing. I'm losing my bow hold. Yeah, this really, really does require a lot of patience. Give the bow's weight to the string. Move a little bit. D string. Also very difficult feeling, am I using my arm or am I really only moving the bow with my fingers? And G string, and then that's it with finger bowing for now, because this is very tiring. Okay, sort of. So I am able to now move the bow just using the fingers. With a pupil, I would be very satisfied if they're starting to learn finger bowing and can actually move the bow only using the fingers, even if it does not sound good, even if it's still very jerky. One can build up onto all of that. So in a way, I guess I should be satisfied with myself, but I'm finding it impossible to be satisfied with myself when I don't sound like a professional violinist, which is completely ridiculous because I'm not a professional violinist playing this way around. I'm not a real beginner either, but I don't know what I am. Okay, my next bow technique exercise is going to be just some small bows, open string of course, more or less around the middle of the bow, and I'm going to see that I can do that using just the bow's own weight with a very relaxed bow hand, and hopefully get some of the finger movement into those small bowings passively. This is not finger bowing, this is a combination of arm, hand and finger where I just want my fingers to passively react. I have no idea if this is going to work out. Okay, I'm going to put the bow around about the middle. I'm going to relax my bow hand and I'm just going to move backwards and forwards a little bit and see if my fingers can react passively. Same on the E string. I'm losing my bow hold. No good to go on if one's losing one's bow hold. A string one more time decently. Okay, let's try this again. Relax the bow hand. It seems to work that I can relax my hand and fingers, but because I'm relaxing my hand and fingers, I'm losing my bow hold a lot. So here we are with the patience thing again. But that's something which I've been practicing now, moving the fingers, and I just wanted to see how it works out if I combine a little bit of arm movement with the fingers reacting passively just because they are relaxed. I'm only using very little bow because once the angles start changing, when I'm closer to the frog or closer to the tip, and when I have to start either carrying the bow because in the lower half the bow's own weight is too heavy, or having to add weight because in the upper half the bow is too light, then I know my bow hand won't be relaxed anymore. So to practice these finger movements, just a little bit of bow in the middle of the bow seems more sensible. Okay, string hand technique. I'm doing that completely without the bow because if I concentrate on my string hand, then everything will mess up with the bow, and I don't want to teach my hand too many wrong things, and I need to concentrate on the fingers of my string hand because that's what I want to practice today. Now, it might come as a surprise to many people, but when I teach the violin, the first finger that I teach is the fourth finger. That has several reasons. One of the reasons is because the fourth finger needs to be practiced most because it's the shortest and weakest finger. Another reason is that in first position, the fourth finger is the same note as the next higher open string, so that makes learning to hear the intonation a lot easier than if you're starting with another finger and you're starting with the correct hand position right away. For those of you new to the series, I've prepared my string hand by practicing a lot of pizzicato. So I've been doing quite a lot of preparation exercises by plucking the open strings with each finger several times, just to get the hand prepared to the position that it's supposed to do. Now, what I want to do is I want to put my fourth finger onto the A string, onto the E, and I have to do that in a way that I can still pluck the open E string. So my fourth finger has to build a bridge over the open E string onto the A string, which forces it into the correct position. Now let's see, where am I? Okay, that's a bit flat. Okay, relax. Very important to release the arm into the other direction, relax a little bit. Now I'm going to do the same thing, fourth finger on the D string in first position. So let's find it. Too flat. And open A string. Fourth finger, open string. Yeah, that's enough already, quite strenuous. You see, by plucking the open string as well as the fourth finger, I can control the intonation. So I'm practicing hearing and correcting. Now, I have a trained ear, so the hearing part is not so much of a problem. But the correcting is insanely difficult. You can tell I'm having big problems even just correcting one note. So I'm going to have to practice correcting just as much as every other beginner, quite clearly. Okay, now on the G string, fourth finger D on the G string. Go over a lot. This is why it's good that I've practiced quite a lot of left-hand pizzicato. I'm continuing to practice left-hand pizzicato, only in my case it's right-hand pizzicato, or as I call it, string-hand pizzicato. Open D. See, my finger's not building a proper bridge. Now it's resonating. Okay, very difficult, very strenuous. I can't do this any longer than I'm demonstrating here. So I start with the fourth finger, and all my beginner pupils who start with me also start with the fourth finger. So now I know what I'm putting them through. It is good in the long run. It's very helpful in the long run to start with the fourth finger for the reasons I mentioned. And violin playing is difficult anyway, so one might as well address the difficulties right from the start. This exercise with the fourth finger is very strenuous. I noticed that. I have to be careful not to practice it too long and too much, because that will just be too much for my hand. So I'm going to go over it one more time. But in between, I'm going to do some open string pizzicato to get the fingers moving, to relax them a little bit. So I'm going to start with the fourth finger E on the A string again. Too flat. Okay, fourth finger, open string. Okay, and now I'm going to go straight into moving. Okay, that moves the fingers a little bit, and then I'm going to release into this direction. And now I'm going to do the same thing on the D string, fourth finger A on the D string. Fourth finger, open string. Okay, that's enough, and I'm going to go straight into moving again. In the other direction. I think a combination of those two things is a good exercise, because the fourth finger exercise is very static. My fourth finger is just sitting on the string, perhaps correcting a little bit, but it's a static exercise. It's not a moving exercise. Static exercises are more strenuous because you're not in a movement. So I'm combining it with the pizzicato exercise, so that it's as a whole exercise, not quite so static. Okay, G string, that's most difficult because it's furthest away. Yeah, it's also hardest to build a proper bridge. You can see how this is self-correcting, because I can only pluck the open D string if my fourth finger is placed correctly on the G string. Yeah, see, it's not because I'm not building a proper bridge. Better. Okay, straight into moving around. And release in the other direction. So this is very hard. It's hardest on the G string, but you see it's self-correcting already, because if I don't place my finger properly, I can't pluck the neighboring open string, which I need to correct the intonation. So this combination, and then going into the movement of the plucking the open strings, is very helpful, because that relaxes the hand. Okay, I hope you enjoyed seeing me struggle. Like I mentioned, patience is hardest, and I find it most difficult to be patient when I'm practicing bow technique, because I find that most frustrating, probably because it sounds so bad. For string hand technique, I'm just doing everything pizzicato, so it doesn't sound quite so bad, so maybe it's easier for me to be patient when it's not quite so painful for the ear as well. But with bow technique, I'm finding it very difficult to be patient, which is amusing in a way, but yeah, it doesn't exactly help with practicing motivation. So I didn't expect that to be so hard. Okay, subscribe to my channel if you want to see where this is going and how far I get. And happy practicing to all of us.